Good morning and welcome to the Yarns and Brews podcast. I'm your host Amanda and I'm coming to you from Central North Carolina. This month is going to be very busy, I'm sure, for many of us, including myself, and I have family coming into town soon. I'm finishing up some schoolwork and yeah, I just thought I'd get one more quick one out before all that happens. I don't know if I'll get another one out until January, so this might be it, but here we are nonetheless. With that, I'd like to go ahead and get started with what I'm wearing. I am wearing this striped sweater by Andrea Mowry, and these are six different colors by Playful Day Yarns. She is a dyer out of California. I knit mine in fingering weight yarn, held double, so it's more of a DK weight. I think the pattern calls for sport, if I'm not mistaken, but I really like the way that this turned out. It's a nice kind of dense, heavy fabric, so pretty comfortable in the wintertime. The only modifications I made were on the sleeves. I did not go down a needle size because I don't have row gauge issues or gauge issues in general when I knit sleeves. So she tells you in the pattern to go up a needle size on the sleeves to make them fit better. But when I did that, it changed like the width of the stripe. So I went back, ripped out, and then re-knit in the original size to the body. Aside from that, I did run out of some yarn. So I ran out of this green colorway. So I found one in my stash that was similar. When I knew I was starting to run out, I held it with a strand of this color. So one strand of the original and one strand of the new to try to hide the differences. So I think I did a pretty good job on that one. But on the pink one, I also ran out of, this light pink yarn and had to pull from my stash. This one is definitely more variegated, which you can see, where this is more of a solid color. So up close, like you would probably never notice, but in person, on camera, it definitely, shows the differences a little bit more. So I knit this out of Stress Knits, and I don't remember exactly which colorway I used. It was just a mini I had in my stash probably, or leftovers. But it's close enough. So when you're far back like this, you can barely tell that this is a different color than this. So I used almost all 6 skeins. So that was kind of a lot of yarn, but given that it was held double, it kind of makes sense. Next up is finished objects. So this you have not seen before because I started it in between podcasts, but this is a Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry. And it's knit out of handspun yarn. So this first color is like the lighter color that's on these little, blips there. That is Wound Up Fiber Arts, Homeland. And then this darker colorway is by Cider, which is 100% blue-faced Leicester, and that's created by Elsie. And then this gray color was Endless Roving, and it was just a little bat that she sent, or that she included with an order. So I thought I would use it in this project because it's kind of nice to have the cool tones with the warm tones. Kind of makes a striking difference between those colors. So I did run out of this gray Endless Roving yarn, so I made my own. I had some natural Shetland in my stash that was like a natural tannish color, and then I had black. So I kind of blended the two together. I put some pink silk in there and some white silk in there and tried to make it match as much as possible. In her bat, she had those colors, and then she also had some pink sparkle. I didn't have any sparkle, so I just went with kind of what I had, but you can barely tell the difference. I think I switched around here. But yeah, given that there are variegations in her yarn too, which is up here, it's not super easy to tell the difference between the two, which is nice. So that's how that looks. I didn't make any modifications to the pattern or anything like that. I knit everything to the dimensions and what she had in the pattern. I use the same needle size and everything. So I'm really happy with the way it came out. This is going to be a Christmas present for my mom. She kind of has sensitive skin, which is why I picked more superwash or really soft fibers. So I think it is next to skin soft. I don't notice any irritation on my neck, but we shall see with her because she definitely has more sensitive skin than I do. But I recommend this as a holiday knit because it's very quick. The next finished object was already finished once before, but is my winter sweater, and I did end up reknitting the collar. So I pulled everything out, which was definitely the hardest part, is unpicking mohair. But I knit it in a smaller gauge, and I also folded it over. So I'm much happier with the fit. I like a little bit closer neckline, and this I think falls just slightly outside of the one I'm currently wearing. So it's a really nice sweater. It's warm. I've worn it once already. So yeah, I'm happy with the finished product. Again, this is a Moharia sweater. It's designed by the owner of that yarn shop in Norway, and she does not sell this pattern on Ravelry yet that I'm aware of. So if you are interested in the pattern or buying a kit, I would recommend chatting with her. I didn't have any issues with her over email. She was actually really pleasant to work with and really helpful. So yeah, recommend the pattern. The yarn is African Expressions Love, and it was just what was in the kit. It was the colorways that she had. The last finished object I have is this hat, and like Gabo or something like that by Ambah O'Brien. I will link everything down below as I always do, but this is knit in Wandering Flock yarn, Cosmic Tie-Dye colorway, and it's going to be a present for my niece. So I'm excited to give it to her because she says she loves unicorns right now. So this kind of reminded me of like unicorn colors. So hopefully she loves it. This was a really quick knit. I knit it in about a day. It's a really stretchy hat too, which is nice for kids. So yeah, I'm hoping she will like it. It's just a superwash merino, so kid friendly in the sense that they can just throw it in the washing machine or whatever. The whips that I'm working on currently are this headband. This is like, I think it's like the braided headband or something on Ravelry. I will link it below, but this is a free pattern and it's really easy to knit. It only really requires, I use Blue Sky Fibers wool stock for both these. I love this yarn. It's fabulous. I really, really, really like it. But yeah, so I'm knitting another one for my mom. I made this back in 2019. I think it's probably my most worn headband or like hat or anything. I wear it all the time. I wear it when I run because this one's mine. But the only change I made to this pattern is I pick up a row of stitches along the edge here because normally it's just like left off garter. So it kind of looks like that. I just wanted a cleaner edge, like nice and flat. So I picked it up. I think I knit like 1 or 2 rows and then I bound off in a Russian bind off. So that just makes for a really, the Russian bind off makes for like, you know, enough stretch or give for your head, but also it doesn't have that flare that some of the other stretchy bind offs have. So with my mom's, the only modification I'm going to make is I'm also going to knit this edge, but I'm going to knit double. So I'm going to pick up some stitches on the inside here and then knit just flat stockinette and then graft it, I think, to the other side. And that way it's double warm. And then I've worked a little bit on the baby blanket. I didn't bring it down to show because it's not super far along from the last time I showed you, but I did cut out the rabbit that's going to go on the front and center panel. So that's kind of what he looks like. And then you just sew it down. So I'm getting there on that one. Right now I'm on the color work knitting it flat, so that's not very fun. And then the next project I've been working on is my Eden wrap. And I think I knit about 5 or 6 inches on each one of these panels. And I'm about ready to connect them. So I'm definitely going to run out of yarn on this. I'm going to knit until I have no more yarn left, and that way I know how much I need to order because I've already reordered more yarn for this project. So I'm just going to kind of focus on this one because this yarn is discontinued and I'm afraid that one day I will just run out of yarn and not be able to find any more. So that would be a shame, and I'm really excited to have this project, so I'm going to try my best on finishing it up. So once I connect for the back, I would just be knitting straight down in one panel of brioche. And I have these two like partial skeins left and then two full skeins. So each one of these front panels used 1.5 essentially partial skeins. So it's gonna be close on the yarn, but considering I have to knit a band basically to tie the sweater, that's where I think I'm gonna run into some issues with the amount of yarn I have left. And the yarn is Barocco Corsica in the Dusty Plum colorway. The last thing I've been working on is I've done a little bit of work on my sleeves for my Bramble sweater by Marie Wallin. So this is where I'm at. I had to completely reknit one of these sleeves because I ended up somehow off on this bottom green pattern. Like the circle did not line up and it was gonna drive me crazy. So I thought really long and hard about it and I was like, you know, you're not that far along right now, so go ahead, rip back, redo it, and you'll be happy. So I'm glad I did it. It only took about 2 hours to reknit from the green all the way up. So it was definitely worth it. And they're both kind of at the same stopping point. I'm knitting both at the same time. The one thing I want to learn how to do with her patterns is weave in the ends as I go. I have not been doing that, and it just, as you can see, it leaves a ton of ends to be woven in at the end. And I'm nervous that I won't want to do that because I haven't been wanting to do it. So I want to learn how to do that and get myself into the mindset and the habit of doing it. That way, with other future Marie Wallin patterns or other colorwork patterns, you know, it's just habit to do. So I want to start building that habit for myself. So that's where I'm at with that. I also washed and blocked the body of the sweater, so I've made, you know, no progress since the last time. I wanted to wash it before I steek it because I also want to kind of felt the steeks a little bit, but that's where I'm at with the body. And it blocked out really, really beautiful. You can kind of see the stitch patterns there. I think that basically wraps it up. I actually want to talk about one more gift knit that I really like. So this is not a new finished object, but this is a finished object that, you know, from about a year or two ago. But this is the Pull the Wool Over hat, and it's a free pattern by Espace Tricot. And I knit mine in Woolfolk, but there's tons of other substitutions for this yarn, like Katia, I think Concepts or something, has a similar yarn. So it's just that cotton tubing with the wool blown through it that creates for like a really nice fabric and nice cozy hat. So I love this hat. It's good for either gender. I've knit several for gifts because they're quick. I think they only take a couple hours. So yeah, that's another good gift knit. Yeah, so one last thing that I would like to mention is I want to do a quick little giveaway for the holidays because I don't know, sometimes it just feels good to give something away to somebody who's gonna love it and use it. So with that, I would like to do a giveaway for this skein of handspun fiber. So I spun this, I think a year or two ago, and it's a Polworth silk blend. It is about 115 yards. So that's measured after I washed it. And it's by Nest Fiber Studios in the color Sandcastles. So it's a 3-ply, so this would probably make a good pair of socks. So if you have a contrasting heel, toe, and cuff, you could probably get a full pair out of them. Otherwise, it'd probably make a nice cowl too, especially since it's not superwash yarn. So yeah, and if you're not familiar with Polworth, it's one of my favorite sheep breeds to spin. It is a cross between a Lincoln, I think, and a Merino sheep. And they come from New Zealand. Yeah, I think they were bred in New Zealand originally, but so it has the softness, of course, of Merino, but it also has a longer staple length, which is a characteristic of the Lincoln sheep, which is a long wool sheep. So yeah, I want to give this away. In order to be considered for the giveaway. You have to be a subscriber of this channel, and then also leave a comment down below on what you would knit with this, because I'm always curious to hear what people would want to knit with handspun yarn. So yeah, what would you knit with this skein of yarn? With that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, or call it a video, and get on with my day. I think I'm gonna go play some tennis this afternoon. We're having really wonderful weather this week. It's been in the low 70s, high 60s most of this week, and it's just been really nice to be out in the sunshine and warm weather. So that's part of my plan this week, or today, along with some studying that I have to do for class. But I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. If I don't get to see you before the beginning of the new year, Happy New Year, and have a wonderful rest of the month. Bye.